Yeah, we'll just go on, then they can join because we've started live streaming already.
Okay, all right. Good afternoon, Moses.
Is your video turned off?
Yeah, it is. Let me turn it on.
Okay. Okay, so hi everyone. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us again on another coaching session. Today we'll be treating value proposition, and then we have one of our amazing coaches here with us, Moses. He's been with us for a very long time, and we're super glad to have him resume coaching with us again this year. So the ladies are here. Some more will join while we go on with the session. So thank you so much, Moses. This is actually a new group of women. We now make it 10 women, actually. So sometimes we have the sessions 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. So for this group, it's a joint session. So I'm sure they would want to know a bit about you, your business, and all of that. So immediately Emma is done introducing the women, then you can tell us about yourself and take on the session. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Please go ahead, Emma.
All right, thank you. So for now, we have 5 ladies. 5 more are on their way. So at this is Dina. She's into baking. She bakes scones and cake. Then we have Evelyn on this side. She sells chicken. She sells rice and beans. Then Brenda has just left the baby crying. So Brenda sells chicken, the one I confused with Evelyn for rice and beans. Then we also have Telesa. Telesa, what's the name there? Telesa's. So Telesa Walia sells spices, food spices. Then we have another Telesa this side. She has a salon, so she offers all beauty services.
Okay, nice to meet you all, ladies. My name is Moses, and I'll be taking today's class. I am currently co-founder at BeFree. BeFree Africa is a debt recovery company. So we kind of like help lenders and borrowers recover their debt from default lenders or default borrowers, sorry. Today we are operational in Lagos, Nigeria, Nairobi, Kenya, and also Accra, Ghana, where we help commercial banks and digital lenders recover their debts. Pleasure to meet all of you. This is the first time I'm showing up for a class with you all, but I hope it's as interesting as it should be.
All right, thank you. So, rather than that, so rather than that,
you all can still hear me.
Sorry. So, rather than that, business design. Yeah, ni debt recovery. Now, Nigeria, poverty, abantu bakongoleze promote situation. So, when a company abo for each to akongoleze, fast like the company abo, we have like but send them here for the emotional situation. Thank you.
All right, great. Great. So I'm going to be I'm going to be defining a few things around the topic. The topic today is value proposition. And the first aspect of this course today, or this discussion today, is to define what value proposition is. And then we would also then be talking about how value proposition is a measure of your character. And then thirdly, we would discuss some of your existing value propositions, which I think we should do before after the definition. But we'll discuss some of your value proposition, and then we'll now create certain value propositions for some of you who will take as test cases for today. All right. So by definition, I don't know if you want to first describe them, tell them that before we go on to my next outline, which is to define value proposition.
Yes, please. So, when that's the lot of yes, value proposition nalanda chichiye chintu echo mushikisha obukankala chikwete no pochi kusene kubankai a value proposition. So when that's there, to understand the ukankala chikwete nofo chikusele kubantu bandi efo chikwata ukuchitameza imisango sheni. In other words, business leaders so much time ilanda something pali mwini so atukutwala sambira for you. Thank you.
All right, great. So the definition of value proposition from my own perspective is your promise to your customers. So what did you tell your customers that you intend to deliver, right? That's a simple layman's term, what value proposition is. What did you tell your customer you intend to deliver to them? It can be you as a rice seller telling your customers that your rice is always neat and without stones. For you who sells chicken, you could say your chicken is always fresh because you sell, upturn your sale very quickly. So your chicken is always pure and fresh. For you who does, what do I call it now? Beauty care, you would say you only sell, FDA approved, so government approved, products, that you don't sell roadside, concussions, basically. But these are value propositions that you can actually define. In the sense here is when a customer picks that rice, he doesn't go cook it and he finds pebbles and stones inside of it, you have just failed on that value proposition. The same thing for the one who sells chicken. If the customer goes and the chicken begins to taste stale, you have just failed on that value proposition. So in definition, when you apply these examples to the definition, you kind of understand how important it is for you to stay put to what we call today, what we will define today as value proposition, which is what is your promise to your customer? When you tell them, I want to do this, what is that thing that you told them that you intend to, always do, which is something they will always come back to your shop for?
All right, thanks. So when the value position chintu, echo mushikisha ukankala chikwete mfo chikusene kukubandeni. As in ishiraingyo minga chitamo define chakobati ubulayo customer. So na rice enomlesha, right? Mwala bala shandwa customer. Okay, ni rice yanzi inanukila rota ikwata amabu. So that show value proposition echintu cheno chomute echomulaile customer. It's like ingamuna share chintu mfira mweshisha assuring customer something like ichacho define kana kufinisha wakati wapata mwanzo wa kuisha. Ile kana yanzi kana ni 2 months taira fuma ile mleka fini ebulaya promise omlepela customer so bena ikala na bena balanda ti baishita define at ni promise kushani customer chomala customers ine ayama nankane keki yanzinga na kupangilia ile kama 2 years itayoleka tunakunda kufijina mwingi nitapasi tayoleka is what value proposition is. At the end of the day, HLM kusanya kubantu bande rice bosi na wakati rice but si yanzi ya kusana kununua ndio kwa sababu so a value proposition kuri bena ichinto cyo mulera ya customer.
Awesome.
Thank you.
It kind of the way you end your translations, it feels like I understand your language, but it's fine. Yeah. But yeah, it's quite interesting how when you discuss value proposition, you already start learning how people are. What kind of person are you when you say, I promise you that my creams always have NAFDAC number, or I promise you that my spices are 100 grades. And let me give you an example. Somebody who sells ginger and he said, I sell powdered ginger, but within that powdered ginger, he also adds maybe some low grade chalk into it just to make it large quantity, right? You already would kind of tell that kind of person, if that ginger goes through test and you say it is 60% ginger, 90% of a different kind of compound, you've already failed on that value proposition. You have just told that customer something that you are not sure of. Yeah. So, but then, it's important to kind of like know whether this is something that any one of you apply to your business. So we want to start by asking, yeah? Very important. And this will go around. I would like to take responses from all four of you at this point. What is that thing you always promise your customers? And when they show up at your shop, what's that thing that makes them always come back? Yeah. I'll start with the lady in red by my left, so by your right. So just basically asking the question across everybody. What is that thing you promise your customers that make them always come back?
Thank you. So, Valeran, that's the hope of this person. That's the yes, so then the other thing that they are providing. Imisango shamu but for example, ya ginger powder. Ginger powder, alunda muhimu so that people. So already go watch ginger twice with the so then that's it. Muma products so mushikisha. Bonse business with some official customer resu. Customer resu bebe so much for lambiru. It's from la customer benunga bereshita rice and beans. So kuri beans chinchi mubala ya then na kuri rice cheese mubala ya ni assurance. So much the imagination in your customer. They need to look to decide there is more than the machine.
My customers are like, then you jump to my customers.
Okay, so for Evelyn, who sells rice and beans, so she says the assurance she gives the customers when it comes to rice, she always tells them that this rice is clean and it's not broken in pieces, it's good quality. Then for the beans, she always promises them to say this is fresh. It hasn't stayed for over years. It was just it's recent. We just recently got it and just from drying, so it's fresh and it has all the nutrients.
All right, great. So I think we should take all the responses. Then I would, throw out like a particular test case basically for this same purpose. So just take everybody's questions around. We'll take everybody's response.
So like we never share for very first convention
Yes.
All right. So for Dina, who is into baking, she says the assurance she gives our customers is that compared to other places where they bake cakes and scones, for the most part, it's already baked and it has stayed for a long time. But for her, she tells them to say, when you buy from me, I'm going to make a cake now, and it's going to be a fresh one. And the other thing she said is, yeah, that's what Dina said. The fresh is always, the cake is always fresh. Then for Napasa Telesa at the far end, who is into, who has a salon, she has said with her, there's a popular hairstyle called Masai. I don't know if you know it. So
Yeah.
most people like doing that hairstyle. And most people are dishonest when it comes to plaiting, especially at the far end. They plait big ones so that they finish fast and this still some wigs. But when people come to her, she tells them to say, me, I'll make sure that all the wigs, you use all the wigs that you come with. I won't steal from you. And I'll make sure I plait you smaller ones so they stay for a long time, compared to other people that plait bigger ones, finish fast and get all the wigs. Then for Telesa in spices, this one, he says when people are buying from her, she assures them to say, my spices are of good quality and I don't mix anything with it. Yes, quite okay, they are in smaller amounts, but it's a spice when you use, when you taste your relish, you will know that, okay, there was a spice that is so strong and smells nice compared to other people that are putting other things in.
So yeah. Okay, great. So when you listen to everybody, right, and even for those of you who spoke across yourselves, right, you would understand that there is a factor of truth and lie. There is a factor of integrity. There is a factor of understanding of the market. There's a factor of follow-up, right? And these are like very small, tiny details that you don't know that are important for your business. But then when you think about it, right, the day you tell somebody that the spice that you just sold to him are of grade 1, and he was going to go and use that spice for a tier 1 client. So let's say somebody is a government official who is hosting an event of his or her friends from different countries, and the person has brags that they have the best dishes in Zambia. And then he says, oh, yeah, great. And then he comes to buy, some spice from you. And that spice that you told them is grade 1 is not grade 1. You will probably stay in the jail for like a month or something, because you have just disappointed his or her friends who flew in from across the world to come and taste Zambia's goodness, right? So the element of truth and lie, the element of integrity plays out every single time you interact with one single customer. So what you have to then do is my next question. How do you ensure that you have validation? So in the sense where you are not the 100% producer of that item. And an example is for the woman who does braids. How are you sure that the kinky you bought is not 30% human grade, but it's not 70% human grade, but it's 30% human grade? How do you ensure that the body cream that you are prescribing to somebody doesn't have bleaching chemicals that changes colors, people's skin tone from black to white? How do you ensure that these things are very accurate in the way you tell them? And for you also who sells rice, how do you know when you buy your rice, it is going to be black bag, so you don't even know what is inside that bag of rice? How do you ensure that that rice that you have told that customer doesn't have stone really doesn't have stone? Yeah. The same thing it will also apply for you who bakes cakes as well. Now, a typical example for your own use case, which I haven't also mentioned, is that you could buy flour that you say is wheat flour, and it is 30% wheat flour and 70% corn flour. You would only know when you have gone to bake. And the truth is that if you buy a bag of flour and then you finally bake with that one, or maybe let's say you do your first batch, maybe one bucket of flour, one small bucket of flour, and then you do your first batch, you would not go and throw away the rest of it. You would most likely bake with the rest of it. How do you translate that information to the customer, telling them that, oh, I thought this was 100%, but sorry, it's not 100%, so it will affect the taste. But this time around, I have done other, types. So how do you validate, the quality of these items? Because you are not going to always be the 100% provider of these products. And even for you who sell spices, you don't generally farm your spices. And sometimes you can also go to the market where you buy the spices and they are dehydrated, so you want to granulate them. You hand it to somebody who will grind them for you, and he adds some other components just to hide some part of your items. How do you ensure that the quality that you prescribe to your customers are the same every single time? Are there steps that you guys have put on the ground? I know that some of you have been doing this thing for like 10, 15, 20 years, but I mean, what steps do you guys have to ensure that you protect your value that you give to your customers, the proposition that you give to your customer? How do you protect it?
All right, thank you. So, madam, let's try to the point. There's integrity. Then no so, madam, murareba abantu batinye abaso ineke abaso yezi shandina na kukacha abaso kula batama kese zimwe fya rubana so no banga fya rubana fyo mukitabali dintane. For example, na mwa kemu mwaza sawa no ibi mwachila betse mafata ile small kwasho yetra ena mfoko ngani alfe furu ero ni shumu mwa mwata na kusokuno. Ito ang basta madasyon yung stress sa situation siya kung nga naman business yan itong kanya pwede then that kung ba si sa promise make it no pati ko 100% for yourself tama pati ba lagi nung so kung ba si making sure siya na pero kung the rice tayari na chakula como as price yani mas tayari price muchitachani so the first question more making sure that you watch that provide quality of the promise abantu then once you provide what is the promise that more figure having the customer at the end of the day. So yes, it's making sure that the quality of most promise na mo study. Hello, you can see what for the day by.
So is there anybody who can like sacrifice themselves to let them define? Yeah, are they answering right?
Yes.
Exactly. So yeah, go ahead.
And then provide the required. Napenda kuwasiliana sawa ongea kwa kwanza kuipa
yes, it's just damage
because nice our company then so kuja watakakwele then is the high side you are making sure to be using a customer who be very efficient Next time. So you are no, but I know nice.
So, guys, almost to the 10 minutes and eight. Dan semua bekerja sama uang dengan Okay, so I'm going to start with the lesson and pass the one to the saloon.
Okay.
So she said for her to make sure that she provides a good quality service to her customers, she sticks to things that she knows.
Okay.
She'll stick to the same hairstyle. If somebody comes and wants fishtail and she's unable to do it, she doesn't agree. She just says, I don't know. Rather, she sticks to things that she's confident and competent with to make sure that she provides a quality service. Then with hair, for the most part, she says she doesn't use her own. She asks customers to come with their own. Then in cases where somebody comes with low quality hair, she tells them to say, this one, the hairstyle won't come out nicely because you've used a cheap one. So tell me if I should continue or not. So for her, there isn't so much for her of maintaining the quality except us sticking to the things that she knows, because she's letting people come with the products and the products they want to use. If they want to relax their hair, they'll come with their own cream.
Relaxers,
So
yeah.
it's much dependent on them. Then for Telesa in spices, she says for her to make sure that there is quality supply of what she promises the customers, she always has one supplier. But there are cases where they bring a spice which is different. So she would tell the type of spices by the colors. And she would explain to her customers to say, okay, this spice, it's not as quality as the one that is supplied to you, but it's good. And we're sorry to give you this one. And normally she even adds up another free spice to her customers. Then for Evelyn, this side in beans and rice, right? So for her to make sure that there is quality, she also has a constant supplier who's always supplying with the same rice. But the fact that most of the times it's even on delivery basis, if they deliver something that is not quality, she tells her customers to say, this is not like the usual one. I've even reduced, I've removed a certain amount, but next time I promise to supply you with the quality ones. So she reduces the price because at the end of the day, she wants to keep her customers. And she said that the only way she can continue in business is by making sure that she keeps her customers. Then for Dina, who's in baking, she says she also has a constant supplier who supplies her with the ingredients. And given a situation where maybe if she was baking a cake for a customer, then power goes, that cake becomes not as quality as always. She tells the customer challenges, power went, so this is what happens. It's not as quality as I always make, but next time when you come, I can bake you a cake at a less amount of money, or I can give you free cupcakes. Thank you.
All right, great. So one thing I hear across the board is that I think all of you kind of understand the importance of, being able to tell customers what you would offer them that other people wouldn't. But one thing I also hear is that all of you are trying to also play safe, in the sense that when I hear a trader tell me that I only have one supplier, it means that that trader does not sell much, right? And when you pick up a loan from Spark, what would happen is that you want to expand so that you can make more money and be able to pay back your loan. In that sense, you want to acquire more customers. When you acquire more customers, maybe one supplier would not be enough anymore. Yeah. Now, it then means that immediately that happens, your system of validating the quality of what you are providing will just fall immediately, right? Because it then means that the one guy who supplies you no longer has enough to supply you, because you now have more money to buy more, right? And for you who is rejecting hairstyles, it means that immediately, Spark's money comes in, you are not able to go and expand the scope of your work. You are not able to say, okay, maybe let me take a girl who starts learning from me so that I can teach her hairstyle, or maybe I can be experimenting with her hair and stuff like that. Now, when you think about value proposition, you also don't want a situation where expansion immediately destroys the entire structure you have for your business. Value proposition is extremely, extremely important because it helps you retain your integrity. However, when there is an opportunity for growth, your value proposition is immediately tested. And when you listen to all four of you who stated your value proposition and how you validate them, everybody amongst all four of you is playing safe. I only buy my spices from one source. I only do the hair I know how to do. I only buy my rice from one source. I only buy my flour from one source. And when you now have that kind of system, the immediate response would be that when today let's say your current capital, your current external and internal business capital is maybe like 10,000 kwacha. If today it increases to 100,000 kwacha, you are not able to consume that 100,000. Because what you have just done is create a safe system that ensures that you don't spend everything, but also gives or retains quality for your customers. Now, one thing you have to leave this room with is that you have to also go home and say, what would happen today if my current operational capital increases from what it is now to 500% what it is right now? What happens? Would my current value proposition and validation process for this value proposition, would it fall apart, or would it stay sustainable? Yeah. And when you think about how you have mentioned your value propositions and how you maintain and manage them, you would understand that, for one, none of you is ready for growth. So when that money comes, you are not able to immediately invest that money and get value out of it so that you can pay back your loan. You first begin to struggle with trying to align the business. And you most likely, in some cases, like this kind of case, you will go and buy things that you can't sell. Yeah, I know that it's a typical R&D problem for the likes of PZ, Unilever, GSK, and the likes, where they say, we want to start selling cream, but they only start in one small local government. But for you, you don't have that kind of capital. So the only option you have is to test the water with the money you have. And I think that when you leave this room today, maybe you go and start testing it, right? For you who is afraid of buying from multiple vendors, maybe try buying from a different vendor this time around. For you who is afraid of doing a different type of hair, maybe start with your daughter or maybe your neighbor's child or something and try a different type of hair. One thing you must understand is that businesses that grow today are businesses that experiment on multiple things. It is good to stay comfortable and relaxed and enjoy your time, but however, that is not capacity. Yeah. And yes, it is great to always fulfill on your value proposition and be able to say, I'm sorry when you are wrong. In fact, that is the most amazing thing. But however, it is important to make mistakes, correct those mistakes, but ensure that you have a system that allows you to grow, even though you are providing value for each and every one of your customers. Yeah? So your assignment today after this class, and I'm sure all of you are just shaking your head and you are worried to hear that, oh, maybe Spark gives me money, I don't know how I'm going to pay it back. It is important to have this conversation with you today so that you understand that you are not ready for the capital you're about to receive, and then that you're going to start preparing yourself for that capital. Because I am sure 100% that even all of you in this room, there has been a time when this person that you are safe with receiving value from has told you that I don't have delivery, and you have to now wait 1 week later before you get the item. It's not just only going to be a problem for this Spark repayments, it's going to be a problem for your growth in its effect. Because take for an instance, when Spark gives you this money and you pay back to Spark, somebody else is going to see how big your business is and tells you to come and take a bank loan. And when you take up that bank loan, the person will not offer you a bank loan and he thinks that you are able to pay. He offers you a bank loan that helps him increase his branch deposits. Right? Now, when you go ahead and take that money without so much literacy, what would then happen is that because you are also not ready for that level of growth, which is a second level from the current level that you are, then everything just falls apart and you begin to struggle again. Yeah? So, like I said, it is extremely important that you are safe with, your value proposition, that you're also safe with how you protect that value proposition so that you are always valid. Yeah? However, it is also important to incrementally test that value by doing something new. Yeah? Buying from a new vendor, producing a cupcake flavor that you have never done, doing a new bread that you have never done. In fact, making sketches of new styles that you want to do that you have never touched. Right? If the only chicken or bird item you used to sell is just chicken, you now go and venture into selling guinea fowl and all that, and duck and all whatnot. That is what growth looks like. Because there are already people who come to ask you about it. Maybe you don't buy in high quantity, you buy in low quantity, but expand into other markets and then ensure that you're able to test this very hypothesis of I know how to protect my value proposition and see whether it really works when you have increased your stake. When you do this, then you're able to tell yourself that maybe I'm ready for more capital. Yeah, maybe if I get this more capital, I'm able to pay back, because it's not just in collecting the loan. The collecting of the loan is actually very sweet, and you can ask Barbara. Collecting loan is amazing. Yeah, in fact, it is so sweet that when the money comes in, the first thing you want to buy is the first thing you want to do is buy yourself a Coke and say, I have done well for going through all these classes. Yeah. But however, when you think about it again, you now understand that it's not enough just to drink Coke. It's not enough just to take that extra capital. It is enough to have an avenue to keep growing to the extent that when you take a loan, the people who are giving you loan are excited to give you loan. And there is this saying that says, responsibility begets more responsibility, right? So when you do one thing well, somebody comes and gives you more, right? More work. Good work is it's an advocate for more work. That's exactly what plays out here. We want a situation where you have value, you have integrity, you have a person, you have a character, and then you are able to sustain those values. But however, as you are sustaining those values, you also have the room for growth. And you have prepared background and levels and several levels and layers of validation and verification to ensure that when these things happen to you and you see an avenue, and this can be in any different layer. You could be doing your thing now and Spark gives you capital, and somebody comes to you and says, and this thing that you are doing, you are growing well. I like what you are doing. Can we partner? And then the person gives you too much money, and this can be a person that has been your friend for the last 20 years, and you just destroyed that friendship because you just could not pay back. But that's also because you are most likely not even ready to collect that money, but you collected it either ways. You were not ready for a partnership. You signed a document either ways. When you think about value proposition, you also have to think about how it affects not just you, but also your relationship across you. For some of you who have done this thing for over 15 years, there's a chance that you have had one customer who their children actually right now patronize you, even after the death of your original customer. That's what character and integrity does. But however, when you fail that thing by, not just failing that person, but also the person who you are now in business with, take for instance, Spark, you are now going to go back to your shop goes empty because you can't sell anymore, and the customers who you are selling to are reducing so much because you can't sustain your goods. Yeah, this will lead us to the next outline, which is to discuss how this affects our character. But I think I've also already talked about how important value proposition is to our character as a person, and how it aligns and how it comes together. When you think about between your value, difference between you and the there's no difference between you and that position that you have coming from the very first day you open your door to your customers. Yeah. And after this, I'll just take us through, I think we're also out of time, but you can just take them through all I have said. And then we'll just close by just, giving a certain level of value propositions and how you could also sustain them. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. This is so interesting. That's why I had to wait for you to finish saying everything. Earlier, I was talking to Evelyn when she came. I asked her, what are you selling? She said, at the moment, I don't have any product because my supplier hasn't supplied me, which is very good to now learn about it, why we shouldn't have one supplier. Okay, so let me translate everything you said. So when you come back to you're playing it safe. Let's a business no more sign. Let's a business no more. So let's see business particular, you have tested the value that you produce. It's like when you're teaching 10 people, it can be easy compared to but points. Now business software. Actually, you're playing it safe. Because you're playing it safe, because you want to have quality, now you've decided to have one supplier. It's going to be deadly for you. For example, by using some because the supplier family. So, but let's see if into question. Have master plan and then like in a separate ones like Sangati, the Mongo I posted chini. The Wakamone 53 full time. Just rice in and but you see everything. Even the supplier is a bad one. You want because which one wants the flyer? That's the, for example, the question that fish the way you're losing out on customer time. But the business survive, the business have up to date innovation. The question can now change the side. Side. So, I'm not we want to supply by all means, the take one supplying to our customers, we correct those mistakes. At the end of the day, we grow. Gachakos were playing it safe rating, that's why I found that business to cover our. So, if you thank you.
Awesome. And let me just give one simple example. By the way, my younger brother is a sous chef, so he actually bakes and cooks. And last 2 weeks, we were talking, and then he said he wanted to experiment something. So there is a meal that we eat in Nigeria, which is called bread and akara. And he said he wanted to, akara is bean cake, basically, fried bean cake. So he said he wanted to reinvent it. So he made a burger out of crispy chicken, the akara in the middle, and then the dough at the bottom and the top. He tested it out and then he posted it on Twitter and said that he has just reinvented the akara burger and he wants to sell it for 6,000 naira. While he was talking about it, people were screaming, and I told him, go and prepare a banner that you put the price and your contacts on that information. While people were critiquing the item, he sold over 150 pieces in 1 week. Yeah, when you think about it, for those of you who are doing whatever business, the need for change is the mother of invention, which is why there are cars today that nobody drives. Yeah. You also have to understand that, you know, and I've also pointed it out for the lady who does hair. If you keep chasing out your customer, you're handing them over to somebody else. And even when the person wants to do the hairstyle that you know how to do, they will not come back to you. They will go to the person who did the last one and did it well. You have to understand that you also have to always constantly evolve and improve and develop new strategies for your business. Nobody has done akara burger, and my younger brother has been on, so far he has been on 3 TV shows and about 5 radio interviews, right? Just by that simple gesture of reinventing how akara and bread is eaten. Yeah, and I'm proud of what he has done. So when you also say that you are baking cakes and all whatnot, and you have never tried what people will call an error, which is mixing corn flour with wheat flour, you probably haven't tried out something new. Yeah, if you are baking a particular variant of cupcakes, how about you make a coffee cupcake made out of a combination of cassava flour and something else, right? And make small quantity, 1 or 2, and even just have people taste it and speak about it on their WhatsApp status. So those are like business avenues that you all have to think about. You provide service and you stand behind that service and say it is great, but you have never tested it across multiple other subsectors that you have to always think about as a business person. Yeah. So please, it is good to be safe, but it is bad for growth. And it's not a good thing as well where you go take a loan only to go and be sitting safe in your background. You are only going to be servicing the same set of customers. I hope you understand that. You have 10,000 kwacha now for your business. If you take 200,000 kwacha, you are still going to be feeding 10, 15 returning customers. There are no new customers. Do you think they'll be able to exhaust that 200,000? They would never be able to. So in order to deal with that problem, you have to create new markets, right? And that's why the guy who sells clothes at a boutique begins to add shoes and add belts and had shawls and had scarves and had untailored materials. It's because for him, he has probably expanded the entire landmark for people who buy ready-made clothes and wants to explore a new market. He opens a new shop beside him, takes a loan and starts selling untailored fabrics. But that's how businesses are. To test your value proposition, you have to try a new trend, try a new market, explore an idea. You have to be creative. It's quite important. Yeah. Now, in the concept of this conversation, right, I also said that the next outline was to talk about a simple value proposition for one person. And for you, it can be that your rice, you will tell your customers that if you find an issue with your rice, come back and I'll give you 1 cup. Yeah. What you have just done is tell that customer that even though I make mistake tomorrow, don't worry, I will subsidize you. Yeah. And what you have just done is change the narrative for a particular seller who always screams at their customers when they come back to complain. Yeah. That's a simple value proposition. So in this case, when you now increase your length and breadth of your customers, yeah, what you have just done is that you have also allowed the situation where you are able to make mistakes and not be worried about the mistakes, not be worried so much about the mistakes. Yeah. And then you create a standard for this, where it is that if I've told you I'll give you 1 cup, when you come and that 1 cup is not available, I will tell you when we will come back and you will get it. But what you have done is that you have made that guy to always come back, whether or not you sell him bad rice today because there was a mistake with the vendor, or you sold him the best rice because you have used a vendor who has now fixed their mistake. But you just never, as a salesperson, create a layer of validation that stops you from growing, because it is impossible for you to innovate, for you to expand, and for you to take on more responsibility if you do this. And I think that should be the close for today, except if you have any questions, then I'll be very happy to take them. Especially for those of you at the back who came in late, I'll be open to more questions or any questions from anybody within the team.
Okay, thank you. So, that's my brother, but why? Even though abantu bantu barashaka but question abantu and he made money out of it to the extent that he even received my so that business was for survival was supposed to be innovative. We can only grow when we embrace change, because if it's flat, they change it. If you can't do something, or if you can't offer something that customers need, you should tell the customer. The customer for example, abantu n'osaba bize barakonshito require breast chicken then breast chicken. I don't do breast chicken. I only sell Shinema live chicken. And customer that would live chicken. You want to reach the boss. So that around 2 we should try by all but it's a provide the so that relevant to what people are content. Then we can only grow that we have more customers new penetrating markets. And we can only do that by providing keep selling around the 24. Fact and why payroll did we have 500 shinga million. Government customer is doing so whether that's it to making a sure to have innovative what's the customer so customer
Awesome. So do you have questions? Please ask question, even if it's just one. Let me know that I'm like you that we're talking about listening.
You can ask them to say them.
It's funny how after talking for like 1 hour, almost 1 hour, none of you asked questions. But anyways, I think it was quite educative, and I like what you mentioned as well. It kind of like touched the conversation that you were having prior to this meeting today, which is how are they even ready for the kind of growth that would happen when they collect money, and how do they, ensure that supply is always available as opposed to being shielded and put in a small box of comfort, basically. But yeah, I think it was a good setup today. For those of you who came in late, I'm sure you already know that you missed a lot. So please, if you can take notes, and please, you can also go over the entire course with them as well after this session, so that they can also catch up on what we have discussed. It will be quite important. But please just know that whatever money you are taking, the value you are going to be providing to your customers will make sure that they come back and invite more people. And like I said, I am sure for those of you who have done this business for a long time, there is a customer of yours who their parent is dead, but the child is still buying from you. You should now understand how important it is to keep that character of integrity and being able to promise and fulfill every single time. The promise alone is not just for your customers, but also for your investors. In this case, Spark is going to be an investor by providing you that capital. And when you promise Spark that you pay back, you will have to, in one way or the other, ensure that the promised growth that you have given to Spark, you fulfill that part of it. And in order to fulfill it, I'm sorry, you have to grow. You have to get out of your comfort. You have to go and adopt more suppliers. You have to create more creative ways of ensuring that you can say, I'm sorry without saying I'm sorry, right? And that you have a way of ensuring that there is sustainability, not just only for your business, but also for the funds that you keep receiving going into the future. Thank you very much, everyone. It was a very interesting session, and hope to see you guys once again.
Yeah, thank you. Please let's take our group photo before we close. Emma, can you put them? Okay.
Pardon?
No, it's okay. I can see them standing.
Okay.
Okay, please let's smile. All right, I got it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Moses. Thank you. God bless you.
Bye, everyone. Have a wonderful week.